Fortnite's Horde Rush is a PvE game mode where your goal is to survive 4 rounds of intense zombie slaying action. And in today's video, I'm going to be dropping in 20 times. So, sit back, relax, get your popcorn or your brains if you're a zombie, and enjoy. Also, I just want to clarify before anything starts, this is nowhere near my first time playing Horde Rush. I wouldn't say exactly I'm an expert, but I definitely know a little when it comes to the game mode. I do what most people should do when they start and go to the center for 2 chests and some ammo boxes. Now, throughout this video, you'll see me use a strategy that you wouldn't think is smart, but actually is, and that involves getting up close and personal with the zombies in their spawner. Since the pickaxe can be swung quickly and it does a lot of damage per hit, it's actually smart to get up in there, and when you break the spawner, it'll explode, killing all nearby zombies and rewarding you with a chest. I also found this ghost pirate thing. I have no idea what it's supposed to do. I'm guessing it's for a challenge in Battle Royale, but since I'm not in Battle Royale, I really have no clue. If you guys know what it does, please let me know in the comment section below. I was kind of confused, as you can tell. Upon opening this chest, I got the rocket ram. I have no idea what this is supposed to... Now here's something I do in these first couple of games that I do not recommend you do, and that is don't shoot at the zombies while the storm is moving. Like look here, I'm shooting at zombies that are far away from me instead of focusing on the ones that are attacking me. I think, especially in the early games, I struggled a lot on these storm moving rounds. Like here I'm taking out zombies, I whip out my shotgun, and I accidentally shoot the gas one, which is not something you want to do at close range. Despite my crappy loot, I do end up making it to round 2, but spoiler alert, this is where I die, and it's in a really dumb way. So this is how I die. Even though there's a ton of strong zombies, I try and go in and melee it, and well, this happens. Game number 2 starts out with me lagging, and then getting attacked by like all the zombies. And then the lady with the minigun spawned in, and she was shooting me, and I was running away from the zombies. And I mean, yeah, I did end up killing her, but I still sustained a bit of damage while doing so. Then, while I was running towards the loot, I saw it. After that montage, I guess you could call it, I finished the round out like normal and even got my hands on the mythic ray gun, which is really good to have in Horde Rush. My least favorite part of any Horde Rush game, which is where you have to move and the storm is following you. I hate it. I'm just going to gloss over this part. But I did eventually make it into the jungle where I prepared for the boss fight. Once the boss spawned in, I was in the ideal position. I had a good angle to hit him in the stomach where his weak spot is, and I could do good and consistent damage with the ray gun from long range. Eventually, he did get close enough to me where he could use a shockwave attack, but I was smart and jumped off the time. The second time, however, I was not quick enough. He knocked me back, but I came prepared with my sword. I was able to escape, heal up, and even do some pretty good damage from long range with my ray gun. I clearly did not learn from the first time, and while I was trying to do damage from close, he knocked me into the storm, and this time did even more damage. But, since the circle was so small by the time I had gotten into circle, he had hit me again, and I was lost to the storm. Game number 3 started out like any other game. I went to the middle, got the loot from there. Broke a couple of zombie spawners. And finally took out some zombies. Oh yeah, and I also got Aerialist, which is super good for movement. I eventually found myself with a freshly spawned boss at Friendly Fields, and with pretty good positioning on top of the barn where I was able to do some pretty good damage from far. He eventually made his way over to the tiny barn where I was, and I waited way too long to run because by the time I was already pretty low on health, and he slammed me. Luckily, with my glider redeploy, I was able to stop myself from going into the storm, which was super helpful. After gaining some distance, I threw down my shield keg, but as the boss approached me, I was forced to abandon it. But while I was running away, I was lucky enough to find a medmiss, so I was able to get my health back up to 100. After I'd healed, the boss used his laser attack, and I kinda walked into it. I'm not sure why, but that ended up cracking my shield, and I'd used my glider redeploy to get out of there. At this point, I wasn't in the best position. I only had 2 rockets left on my grenade launcher. I didn't have the best health, and I was probably being chased around by 20 to 30 zombies, including the boss. Especially in small circles like this, it gets increasingly difficult to manage so many things at once, and it probably doesn't help I was using my boom bow. At this point, the circle was so small that I had no room to dodge his slam attack. It sent me into storm, but I was lucky enough to use my medmiss just in time, but that wouldn't help me for long because I was overrun by the tremendous amount of zombies. Game number 4, I was determined to get as much resources and ammo as I could, so I broke a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and almost 7 zombie spawners in 1 round. I don't even know how I did it. This round, the minigun lady spawned, and it turns out if you use the goo gun, it's a really good way to counter her teleportation, because it'll still stick to her no matter where she goes. It's actually funny, because when I defeated the minigun lady, she dropped a sword, and when I defeated the gold zombie, he dropped a sword as well. I clearly had no idea what to do with 2 of them, so I just took the drum gun and left the other one. And hey, would you look at that? Unlike Chris Paul, I actually made it to the final round. I actually got a pretty good start, doing some good damage with my Eva Chrome burst rifle and some even better damage with my drum gun. And then when the boss got too close, I was able to make a quick getaway with my sword. Though I gotta be honest, this part was really just a mess. I have ice on my feet, I'm getting chased around by like 30 zombies, the boss still has a lot of health left, I'm using my sword to go up in the sky to avoid his attacks. It was just really difficult to manage. This part really is just unlucky. As I use my sword to gain some height over the zombies, the boss uses his shockwave attack, which launches me deep into the storm. Though I am able to make it back in storm, with only 5 health, I don't last much longer. And the longest part of Game 5 is how long I spent on my outfit. After last game's performance, I put on the outfit that most represented my skill, the default. Oh, would you look at that? I actually made it to the final round, and with some pretty decent loot. I have the explosive repeater rifle. I've never seen that one being used. Oh, and look at that. I have the witch broom as well. I'm actually playing this pretty decently. Alright, enough of the jokes. Though I really did use the nearby geysers and the witch broom to move around the final circle pretty well, which allowed me to get good angles and deal lots of damage. Which, after repeating a couple times, I was able to deal enough damage to kill him. And you know I had to hit that default dance. Though I find it kind of funny that I did it with the default skin. This game I wanted to try out the wood stake shotgun to see if it was good or not. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. It has a high damage output and a pretty fast fire rate, but only 4 rounds in the mag makes it not so good for lots of zombies. I will say it was really good for taking out the cube assassin though. I did end up taking the Stinger SMG over it though. The Stinger SMG is just way better. At this point in the video, I was really starting to learn what weapons are good, as well as how to handle the final round. As you can see, I'm using my Hot Hawk effects to get all around him and deal lots of damage. He did end up hitting me with a shockwave attack, but I recovered pretty quickly. For getting the multiplier bonus, I got the high ground. And for the first time, I actually got 2 wins in a row. Clearly, I was very happy. I was jumping up and down like crazy. Game 8, I'm going for that 3 wins in a row. And I ended up at this house again. And I was lucky enough to get the witch broom from my augment, which was pretty cool. And just look at my loot. Mythic MK, Mythic Drum Gun, Ray Gun, and Broom. I do not think I'm going to lose this game. Oh, and you know I had to power up before the boss. And I mean, with all mythic loot, did you really expect me to not get 3 wins in a row? I even had to taunt him before finishing him off. Game 9, I decided to play a squads game, and unless you want to get your loot stolen, I would not recommend doing this. Like here, we all surround the minigun lady to see who could get her loot when she dies. Yeah, it was me. I didn't feel any remorse, to be quite honest. With my good loot, me and 2 other of my teammates were able to make it to the boss fight, but we didn't last long. Eventually, it was just Bradley, 1 of 1 alive, and after putting up a valiant fight, unfortunately, he was not able to survive. GG's Bradley, 1 of 1, you're a hero. Game number 10, I had 3 ARs for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why. And you'd think after all these games I would know how to dodge the beam attack, but clearly not. I'm really starting to dislike this move. And with very little assault rifle ammo left, I was able to claim my 4th win of the game, and I even got a new personal best. Game 11, I got the LMG, which to be honest, I didn't even know it was in the Horde Rush loot pool. But I was able to get it to Legendary all the same. Hey, I have some pretty decent loot, a lot of ammo. I'm sure I'll win this. Now, in my opinion, Game 12 is the best win of the entire video. Just look at this. At this point, the circle has completely shrunk, and I'm left with the chug cannon and the sword. He knocks me back farther, and I'm able to use the chug cannon to gain some health. As the zombies approach me, I'm able to use my katana to kill some zombies, which gives me health in turn. I'm able to do little bits of damage in small increments, and eventually do enough damage to finish him out. I was so excited when I got this win, because I really thought it was game over, but I was able to clutch it up in the end, and as an extra bonus, I once again broke my personal best. Well, we're on to the final game, and the odds are in my favor. I have some pretty good loot. Also, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone who's watched this far into the video. I had a really good time making this, but I only came up with the idea about 5 days till Halloween, so I didn't give myself too much time. I would definitely like to do more stuff like this in the future, but without further ado, the last win of the video. So this section of the video, I just want to talk about some stats and just some extras about the video, about making it and all that. I want to start off by saying that I got 6 out of 13 games. I won 6 out of 13 games, which I would not say is too bad. That equates to about 46%, which is not bad for, you know, my first video on Horde Rush. I'm sure I'll do more next Halloween. But, I said in the outro that I only gave myself 5 days to make the video, and that's because I did. If you're watching this on the day it released, which is Halloween, October 31st, I initially came up with the concept on October 25th. I'm not sure why I didn't come up with it sooner. It just popped in my mind, and I was like, okay, if I can get this out and done and all that by Halloween, it's going to be perfect. Right now I'm voicing this over the day before, October 30th, so I did make it in time. If you're wondering why I did 13 drops instead of 20, I know it looks kind of weird because it's not a perfect number. It doesn't end in a 0 or 5, so it looks a little weird. But it's because, you know, and this idea is from my mom, so shout out to my mom. Thank you. You know, 13 is like a spooky number. Halloween, spooky, yeah, you get it. I also want to shout out Luke the Notable because obviously he's my inspiration. You know, he popularized the whole 100 drops, 20 drops genre, I guess you could say. I actually forgot to shout him out in my original video. I was just rushing to get it out, kind of like this one. But this time I actually remembered. So shout out Luke the Notable. I'm not as cool as you. I can't get out 100 drops on one video, but I can get out 20. Well, in this case 13. So yeah, I am planning to do stuff like this in the future. Depending on what day you're watching it might have already came out, maybe not. But on November 3rd, original Fortnite is coming back. I think we're all super excited for it. I will do a video on that. I've heard some theories saying it's going to last a month. Some saying it's going to last a whole season. I'm not exactly sure how long, but I definitely will get a 20 drops out of that. So be on a lookout for that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do more content like this in the future. That's really all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I spent a very long time on it. I did enjoy making it, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Yeah, that's all I have to say. If you're watching this on Halloween, I hope you have a good trick-or-treat or, you know, whatever you do today. If not, just have a good day in general, and I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.